That don't make sense. Let me hit mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. Let's wait maybe a couple of more minutes, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Sounds good.
Hello.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good, James. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Huh.
Doing great.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason I can't hear anybody. I can't hear anybody else, but
Hold on.
We can hear you, James.
Donna, try to say something. I saw you take your phone off of mute.
Hey, James.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Hey, Donna.
Yeah, hey, it may help if I take my computer off of mute on the volume, right?
Okay.
All right, let's see. It is 6:02, so I guess we can go ahead and get started. I think we'll have some people trickling in and hopefully. I do see some new people as always. When I see new people, I just like to introduce myself. I'm James Sullivan and I serve as the Central City Neighborhood President. Of course, that is the downtown area to about, I think it's Morris Avenue going south, going to the west side is the 19th Street, going north is to the interstate, and going to the east side, I think it's 32nd, maybe 32nd, but that's a general idea of where the neighborhood is, where we are. Shalita Purefoy, she's our vice president. I think she may be on the call as well. She usually calls in. If she wants to say anything, she can do so at this time. All right, she may chime in a little later on during the meeting. Again, it's Tuesday, May the 18th, and welcome to the Central City Neighborhood regular scheduled meeting. We don't have any meeting minutes from the last meeting. we have a new secretary. And if Lou, if you want to say anything right now to introduce yourself, you can. All right, he may want to chime in a little later also, but many of you are familiar with Lou. He has been an active participant in the meetings, so we do welcome him as secretary. And I will try to take some notes as well during the meeting. Also, it's recorded. And on the agenda, I have the links to the previously held meetings for this year. So if you have an opportunity to check out the video, just go ahead and just click the link on the agenda, or you can go to our YouTube page, which is, I think it's Central City Neighborhood Association or something like that. It's pretty easy to find. So if you have an opportunity, just go and check that out. So I want to just go ahead and just jump right in like I always do. Of course, the agenda is pretty much the same. We do have someone that, we do have an item that needs to be approved. Hopefully, Mr. Tincher is on the phone or on the call. I think I did see him. So we will give him an opportunity to speak and talk about what he's trying to do. But at this time, I don't think we really have to adopt the agenda. Well, we do. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda for May the 18th Central City Neighborhood?
I'll move to adopt the agenda, Mike Perez.
Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Laurie Rappier.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
And you'll see me typing on the screen. And if you have ever paid attention to my meeting minutes, I tend to misspell words. So don't laugh at me. Just take it to as love. And the main point is to understand, right? So if you can understand, I'd say mission accomplished. So
James, this is a judgment-free zone. We are good.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Okay.
your efforts. Thank you.
All right,
Judgment-free.
anybody have anything that would like to add to the agenda or any discussion before we, I guess, vote on the adoption of the agenda? All right, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Let's just say that. Okay, nobody opposed. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump in. Do we have anybody from the Birmingham Public Library on the call?
You got Sergeant Ingram from North Precinct.
Okay, at this time, we're on the Birmingham Public Library. All right. I will check with them before we leave the call, because usually they are on the call. So I guess I'll jump into the Birmingham Police Department. I heard somebody say they are from the North Precinct.
Yes, Sergeant Ingram.
Okay. Hey, man, how you doing?
All right, and how everybody's doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. At this time, do you have a report or would you like to? Is there anybody else on the in the North Precinct or from the Birmingham Police Department?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't have a report, but I just need to see if y'all have anything that I need to know about, any concerns.
Are there any concerns that would like to be discussed with the Birmingham Police Department? Okay, I see Donna, she has her hand up.
Yes, you know, I always got a question, but sorry, everybody. Like, we've been going back and forth about people blocking our alleys constantly for 4 years now, and we had gotten it down to a fine art to where we were, when we're blocking, I called yesterday, and they told me an officer would be on their way. There was a white Mercedes blocking our door, and but I finally maneuvered, got in, and an hour and a half later, still no police officer showed up. One never came. What do we do in those incidents when, and this is not the first time, and they had gotten much, much better, but now it's like, if you're gonna call, why am I wasting my time? I mean, I know there's bigger things than me getting in my garage, but to be told the officer's on their way and then nobody shows up is very disheartening after how hard we've worked to get it to where when we call, they come because they know we really can't get in our garage.
Yes, ma'am. What time was that around? What time was that?
Let me see. I made a note of it. I'm gonna just guess because I can't leave the screen.
Yeah, you can just give me. You can guess.
Between about 6:20 and 7:30 yesterday afternoon.
Okay. And
And
7:30.
Yeah, I have another question that we're all talking about is our tickets. We've been told that tickets down here, they don't really matter because people aren't forced to pay them. And we're just wondering, how do we get that changed to where I'd like to see it personally to where you can't renew your driver's license or your car tag or whatever until you pay your tickets. If we need the money, why aren't we focusing on that?
Okay. On the first question, ma'am, if the officer don't show up, all you have to do is call and ask for a sergeant. If a sergeant ain't there, leave a message. Because one thing, when the call get dispatched and they accept the call, I can go back, or whoever's at work, sergeant or lieutenant, can go back, and we can find out who and why they didn't come, and then we can handle that situation. That's gonna be a simple one. If you don't see them, you call and ask for a sergeant, because they need to get there and try to address the situation. Unless we got a real emergency where all the units are just busy, somebody should be there in a timely manner. The second one, I never heard that the tickets don't matter, because it's a fine. Now, all about them suspending the driver's license, I'm not sure that does happen. That right there, I would have to ask questions about how can you get it where they can get their license suspended, because like I said, I'm not sure about that. But the tickets, it's a fine, and the city does want you to pay it. Now, do they force it? Once again, I don't go to court over the parking ticket, so I'm not sure. But I will note that and try to find out more for you in the next meeting.
Okay, that's great. But when I say their driver's license suspended, I just know that in other states and other cities that you can't renew either your driver's license or your tag until you pay your tickets. And I know there's people on the call that live downtown, because I know they've told me there's a site you can look up where people haven't paid their ticket or not paid their car tag is assigned, and they've got thousands of dollars worth of tickets that they never pay. Why are we, like you said, it's not enforced. So I'm just wondering why, and what can we do to get our city motivated to do that?
Well, ma'am, I don't know if it's a parking ticket or a state ticket, how that goes. But if you have a state ticket and you didn't pay it, and you went to court and didn't show up into the court, it's a warrant for your arrest. So you shouldn't be able to get your tag. Now, the parking ticket, once again, I would have to ask. I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they put warrants out on the parking ticket.
All right,
I'm not sure.
I think, well, thank you for your response, Sergeant Ingram. I think Councilor O'Quinn, he may can chime in as well. Some things that we can do, or ways that I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, James, do you want me to go ahead and respond now, or?
Yeah, you can jump in and respond. It's fine.
So in regards to the parking tickets, basically the city does not have the authority to do that. Actually, Senator Linda Madison Coleman, or Linda Coleman Madison, has sponsored legislation in the state Senate to actually do exactly what you have outlined, Donna, where it would make those parking fines or other city municipal fines tied to your vehicle registration. But currently that is not the case. So what needs to be done is for the Jefferson County delegation to push forward that legislation and get it passed in the state legislature.
So who could we write letters to? Is this a group? Could we get that address or phone numbers to call and encourage them to do that?
Yeah, so I would encourage you to, number one, contact Senator Linda Coleman Madison. Encourage her to reintroduce that legislation. Of course, you know, the session is over now, but you know, that shouldn't. Hopefully, it'll eventually get passed. It certainly won't get passed if people aren't advocating for it. The other, you know, thing that I would encourage you to do is to contact Roger Smitherman, who I believe that's the senator who represents the Central City area, and also Representative Neil Rafferty, and encourage them. But the city has explored ways of, you know, tying the parking tickets, or collecting on those parking tickets. But specifically what you're detailing, tying it to vehicle registration, would require the county, the Department of Revenue to get involved, and so the county would have a component in this. So in any case, Senator Coleman Madison, you know, introduced this bill on multiple occasions starting several years ago, and she has not been able to get any traction on it to get it passed, to my knowledge.
Is it because that she don't have the support? Is it to get a bill on the floor? Is it like a super majority, or it has to come out of committee first, right? It has to be a majority in the committee, right?
Yeah, I you know, honestly, I'm not super familiar with how the legislative process works at the state level, but I have talked to her about it in the past, and you know, what she explained to me is that often it requires several years of introducing a bill before you can get traction on it and you know, get it to the floor for a vote. You know, she's introduced it on multiple years in a row. So, you know, I don't know where she is currently with it, but, you know, I do know that in order to make that happen, to make those parking fines and other traffic violation connected to your vehicle registration, it's going to require the state legislature to step in and give and put in place the enabling legislation to make that happen.
Okay, so it sounds like a long haul, but the first step is to possibly get. I'm pretty sure it's millions, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So
yeah, when I came into office and I started, you know, looking into that issue in 2018, and at the time, I think it was summer of 2018, there was approximately $3.5 million worth of outstanding parking tickets that had gone unpaid. And, you know, there's certain individuals that individually they owe, you know, on the order of several $1,000s in fines.
Well, I guess to answer Donna's question, she was asking for a starting point. I suppose it could start with, you know, of course, we have complaints on file on record. Then I'm assuming it can start with maybe just a conversation with Mr. Rafferty and Linda Coleman, and also John. You said Rogers, correct?
Senator Smitherman.
Oh, Senator, yeah, Roger Smitherman. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I took it. So,
right.
We just have to And the legislative session just ended, like yesterday or something like that, or?
Right, right. I think the medical marijuana was the last legislation of note to pass through the legislature on the last day.
Okay. Well, we don't want to linger too much on it, but I give, I guess, Donna the last word on this. I just know it's an issue and it's a continuing issue. We need to try to.
Well, the parking, yeah, the meters are an issue, and now we have the flex lanes. And on any given day, any given 10 minutes, you can walk down between Second and Third, and I can tell you which business owners now, that's their private parking. They park there all day long.
Yeah, I'm
And
pretty sure
I think
Rob.
the meter, they come out and then they move. But then on the weekends now that we've got people parking there overnight, people sitting in the restaurants for 2 hours, it is not the drop-off lane that it was intended to be. And I would like to see, before this gets out of hand and we just have this, oh, well, we got to do this and do that, something, the rules or whatever it is about this needs to be enforced.
Yeah,
Instead of people parking there all day, they don't even bother finding a parking spot now.
yeah. I saw a car zoom in the flex lane just like an hour ago. Like just got tired of waiting at the light. I was waiting at the light and they just turned over and just zoomed through. So, let's try to move on. Donna, I have it noted, again in the meeting minutes. Do you have anything else for the sergeant? For Sergeant Ingram?
Hey, James,
Yes,
this is Sherry Hilliard. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Hey, one thing for Sergeant Ingram, and I don't know if this would help until the legislation could be passed, but back when I was a police officer, which is many years ago, so things may be different, but we impounded the cars that had thousands of dollars worth of tickets. And I know a couple of weeks ago, they towed a couple of cars that were in front of City Federal. And I'm not sure why they towed them. They put a sticker on them that said they had to be moved in 6 hours. And sure enough, they came back and got them. So I'm not sure why those two versus all the other illegally parked cars warranted being towed, which I was fine with it. They were in a bus stop. Maybe that had something to do with it, although it was on a weekend. So, I don't know if that's a way that maybe, that some of this could be enforced, prior to the legislation.
Now, I think that's another question for possibly Councilor O'Quinn. I know many years ago, I know the city council, I remember when I think Jonathan Alston was a councilor, they passed something on the south side keeping people from putting boots on cars. Is that somewhat similar? Councilor O'Quinn, is that something that you can speak to?
It was actually legislation that allowed private parking owners to put boots on cars.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They don't typically do that just because the fee structure, quite frankly, is out of whack. Basically, there's more money to be made by towing the vehicle than there is to be for putting a boot on the car, or something else that I've talked to my colleagues about that needs to be changed. But, I do know that for the longest time, we weren't towing any illegally parked cars in the Central City area. More recently, I believe the Birmingham Police Department has agreed to pay to tow cars that were illegally parked in alleys, which, by the way, there is a city ordinance that prohibits parking in alleys, period. It's very clear. In my conversation with James Fowler, basically he's informed me that the Birmingham Police Department has agreed to tow those vehicles that are parked in alleys. Now, the on-street parking, I do believe there's some towing happening there, but obviously, based on what you guys are telling me, there's plenty of people slipping through the gaps, it appears.
The alley parking issue actually was a result of Donna's persistence in talking with the police and other officers in the city. And finally, they got to where they started doing that. I had to have a car towed a week or two ago that was parked in the entrance to our parking lot on 23rd. And an officer came out and immediately called a tow truck. So the towing part is happening, not necessarily out of parking spaces, but definitely out of alleys and other areas where they're really blocking things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's my point. If they pull up, if they get a call about a car that's illegally parked or obstructing traffic or in the alley, and they pull up on it and they run it, and it's got $4,000 or $5,000 worth of tickets on it, just writing another ticket does nothing to help us with the problem. But if they could focus on those repeat offenders and start towing some of those cars, I think that would have an impact. That was my point. But
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was
This is
getting at. Yeah.
This is Sergeant Ingram. What the gentleman said was correct. Like if you're parking illegally and you stop an illegally parked vehicle or blocking a driveway, we would tow it. As far as them tickets concerned, we're not going to tow it for the tickets. We're going to tow it because it's legally parked and it's in a roadway, inoperable, or it's preventing a legally parked vehicle from leaving or blocking someone's driveway.
Okay.
Okay, but the fine, right? We're not gonna tow it for the fine.
Okay.
Now,
You don't have the authority to tow it for the fine?
Right. I think
No,
that's
sir.
what. Okay. All right. So I don't want to talk about it too much longer, but what will we need to do, like, to start the conversation? If you have $5,000 worth of tickets, like, is that can you tow for that or no? What's the law on that?
No,
No, that's what he
we're not.
said.
Go ahead.
What we need to do is just get somebody to get with a couple of the legislators and find out what they can do. We can't do anything at the city level about that. That's not it's a city issue, but it's not a city solution.
Okay. All right. You answered the question then. Okay. But thank you for that input, Sherry, though. All right. Anything else, Sergeant Ingram, before we move on?
I need that address of what she was talking about, where they blocking the alley at 6 o'clock to what was that 9 o'clock? She said.
You're on
The
mute,
young
John.
lady.
I'm
The
sorry.
address, what's the address what you were talking about when they blocking your alley? What's the address there?
The address I gave them, the alley between 2nd and 3rd Avenue North, 19th and 20th, and it's behind the Old Family Dollar.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Y'all continue to be safe. We hear and see a lot of things on the news. So, just be safe as possible. Okay. And thank you. All right. Okay. So I know we talked about the flex lane. So I do see a representative from REV. So maybe they can chime in on that. I see Rob on the call. So at this time, I will, allow Rob to go ahead and give his update.
Yeah. Hey, James. I'm also going to introduce our new director of operations for CAP here in a second, but I'll answer the flex lanes first. It's interesting enough that Donna brought that up. We've been noticing the same activity happening, and I actually had a call with some representatives in the Department of Transportation today, and we actually reported the vehicles that we have seen, continually parking in the flex lanes more than just the allotted 10 minutes. So we've reported those. We've given them the license plates and the descriptions. Again, it is going to rest with the city to do some enforcement, but we are continually bringing it to their attention because, it is something we would like to see continue throughout the city. But if it's being abused and it's not working and it's something that the neighborhood sees as a detriment, we would not want to, force that upon people. So we've reported that to the city. We're going to continue to push on that and make sure that it's being used the correct way. Also, on another REV note, we on June 2nd at 10 a.m. via Zoom, we will be hosting a State of the Downtown Market, just highlighting everything that has happened in the last year from a commercial real estate, residential real estate standpoint, as well as providing everyone updates on employment. We've been surveying a lot of downtown employees and employers to understand kind of how they're starting to return back to the office and how that will affect how people are using downtown and where, you know, those typical levels of visitorship are right now. So we'll share that. We'll be creating that invite here shortly, and I'll send that to James to send out to this group. We'd love to have as many people kind of listen into that call as possible. On another note, on the CAP side, I want to introduce Franklin Majors. Franklin is the new director of operations for CAP. He's been on board for about 6 weeks now. He has gone through some pretty extensive training. He is well, I'll actually let him take over and kind of share his bio with everyone so y'all can get familiar with him and kind of give a little bit of an update on the CAP program. So I'll kick that over to you real quick, Franklin.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, like Rob said, I've been there 6 weeks now. I just retired in December. I worked with Birmingham Police Department for 26 years. I was a lieutenant out at East Precinct. I worked all 4 precincts during my time there. Actually spent about 11 and a half of my 26 years in North Birmingham, assigned there as an officer for 6 years, a sergeant for 4, and a year and a half as a detective in burglary. So we got a real love for downtown Birmingham, and this opportunity arose about 3.5 months after I got hired on, after I retired from Birmingham. And so I jumped on it. So I'm excited to be back and work with these guys, and building a good staff down there. Hired a few people in the last couple of weeks, like 5 to be exact. So we're getting our numbers back up, and I'm here for any questions, any calls that y'all have. We're available all day and night.
Okay, well, I have a few questions. Back to Rob's original comment about the event that's coming up. You said you don't actually have the link right now to share that you can register.
I don't have the
okay.
I don't have the link right yet. Our director of communications is on vacation this week, so she'll be back on Friday, and I should have that able to send out to you early next week.
Okay, and will you be able to participate, or is it just a listen in?
I think the majority of it's going to be a listening event, but my understanding is that we will have, some allotted time for questions.
Okay, all right. And for Mr. Majors, welcome. And I don't really have any questions or anything like that, but I know Rob explained it previously, but your primary responsibilities will be for what? Like, what are your primary responsibilities?
Well, our parent company is Block by Block, and their motto is clean and safe. And they just basically want us out there providing a clean streets in downtown. We basically run from 5th Avenue South up to the Civic Center, and our eastern border is 19th or 22nd Street, and then we go over to 18th Street on South Side and go over to 16th in the North Birmingham area. So basically, we're just out there. We're engaging with the businesses, engaging with the people that are from out of town, just trying to show people where things are. We also help out with the businesses with any kind of vagrants or aggressive panhandling that's going on, and removing those folks from businesses or asking them to move along. And if we have any problems, and they won't move along for us, we always call the North Birmingham or North Precinct and get them to help out with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that's been tremendous just in these last 6 weeks, Franklin's relationship with Birmingham Police. He still has a lot of deep ties within a lot of the leadership there, and that's paid off immensely so far. He's got a very close relationship with the captain of North Precinct as well as REV. So we feel really confident, and that's something that we have lacked a little bit is, that really close relationship with Birmingham Police. So we think that's going to really help the district as a whole in the long run.
All right. Can you share your number in case anybody would like to call Mr. Majors?
Yeah. It's 205-482-8255. 2372.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Frank with REV? All right, thank you for what you do, and continue to be safe as well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, James.
Do we have anybody on from Public Works? Okay, usually they call in late. Birmingham Fire Department.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hi, it's Lieutenant Williams and Lieutenant Cook from Birmingham Fire and Rescue Station 1. We don't really have anything other than, what are we talking about? Smoke detectors? Fire extinguishers. You want to come talk about it? Yeah.
Good evening. I'm firefighter Demetrius Dericho. Just going to talk about fire extinguishers today. So for you people that have fire extinguishers at home, just a small little acronym to remember. In case of emergency, first thing you always want to do is call 911. Then with your fire extinguisher, we go by the acronym PASS. So you'll pull the pin, you'll aim it at the seat of the fire, squeeze the trigger, and then sweep at the base of it. And that should help extinguish it. So that's our public education for this month. Just brief little information to provide to the community. So any questions?
Does the fire extinguishers have to be recertified from time to time, or does they
Yes.
expire? Or?
They have an expiration date on there. The manufacturer recommend that you give them service. All right, thank you guys for your time. Have a good evening.
Tell me your name again, please.
Demetrius Dericho.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, Demetrius and Ms. Williams. Y'all continue to be safe, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I see Sharon on the video, so you're up next, or you're up now. Let's say that.
All right. Hello. Good evening, Central City Neighborhood, Mr. Sullivan, and it's good to be with you all again this evening. And I do have an update on City Walk Bingham. I think a couple of weeks ago, Attorney Willie, you asked if all of the blocks would be completed and opened at the same time. And at that time, the answer was yes. However, we have learned that because of a delay in getting this project started, which it should be starting in the next few weeks, you're gonna have a news conference probably next week or the week after, probably next week. The contractor has been selected. The project has been let, and they're gonna actually say, we're ready to go to work. What I have learned, and I want to correct this tonight, is that in that contract, some of the blocks must be opened by World Games 2022. The delay, it's a possibility that all of them will not be open. The contractor has committed to working as hard as possible, and I think is committed to trying to have them all open by World Games 2022. But in the contract, there are certain blocks that must be opened by World Games. Those blocks are Block D, and you can go to the website, citywalkbham.com, and see what's on each block, because I did not commit it to memory and I can't tell you what's on each block. But Block D, which is 19th Street to Richard Arrington, must be open. Block E, which is Richard Arrington to 22nd. Block F, which is 22nd to 23rd. And Block H, which is 24th to 25th. So those are the blocks that are right around the Civic Center and the area where there will be activities taking place in World Games. In speaking with Mr. Leonard, he thinks that the contractor is committed and we'll have all 10 blocks open by then. However, in a correction, which I've been following it to make sure I give you all accurate information along the way, it's a possibility that all blocks are not open at the same time.
One important question.
Yes.
Which block is the dog park in?
I think James has it pulled up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can search. Let me try to do a dog search. Let's see.
I think it's on. I think it's in one of those blocks.
Okay.
I know
Block G.
Block G.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Block G was not listed.
We need to put a priority on that.
On the documents that was given to me. I will most certainly communicate that Block G is a priority. The water feature area will be open. I think that's Block D. So that's 19 Richard Arrington, which is right outside of the Civic Center. But I will certainly communicate that Block G needs to be a priority.
This G is in go now, so so we're gonna get it mixed up.
and I will make sure that they know Central City has been very supportive, and it is an important block to Central City.
That is right.
Block G.
Right.
Other than that, you know, things are we're as far as City Walk goes, we are on par, ready to get started, and you're going to start hearing a little noise in the near future. If there are any other questions, I'll answer them. If not, I'll get with Ms. Crockett and get those answers to you. I'll get them to James. I guess the other thing I talked about at the last meeting was trying to get some employees. We're having trouble as well getting workers. So if you know of anybody, I think Ms. Purifoy posted some of the documents we sent to you, Mr. Sullivan, in an attempt to hire some young people. And I mean, there are even professional positions, intern in engineering that we also shared with the community. So if there's anyone we have, from someone that wants to cut grass part-times to someone who wants to be an engineering intern, positions available. So if you know of anyone, please put them in touch with us.
Okay.
Other than that, that's it for my report.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I'll make sure I will. Are they the same applicate, or the applications are the same, or is it new positions or anything?
It's the one. It's still the ones I sent you. I think it was 4 different options opportunities. So.
Okay, I still have it. So I shared it again with I shared it with like 4 or 5 groups of people. So
okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on.
Yeah, we don't want to start getting the complaints about the areas by the interstate not being cut. We do have a contractor that cuts them who, is overextended, but during the summer, when we can get summer workers to cut them, we really like to keep the neighborhoods around the interstate clean.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right. Not last. I see, of course, Councilor O'Quinn. I'll go with his update or report, and then if we'll move to our CRR. I know he may be out. I talked with our CRR, Miss Andre, but he may be out. He may have a replacement on the call now, but I'll check after Councilor O'Quinn's update.
Thank you, James. I'll be brief. So the biggest news of the day is that Mayor Woodfin presented to the council this morning his proposed budget for the fiscal year 2022. In a nutshell, it's the largest city budget ever by $1 million or so. My questions this morning really kind of pertain to, how much ground we've made up in the past year. If you'll recall, back in June of 2020, the finance director was projecting that the city could potentially have a shortfall as large as $63 million. The more recently, he's stated that we were, about $5 million short in terms of our revenue. I assume that there's been some more business licenses and such, more additional revenue coming in. But the long and short of it is that they're projecting that the city's revenue is going to return to pre-pandemic levels and maybe even a little better. So we're fully funding our boards and agencies. So a lot of the entities like the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute or Railroad Park or Ruffner Mountain or Red Mountain Park, and the list goes on, only received about half of the agreed to funding in the last fiscal year, and those have been restored in this budget. One particular item that is close to my heart is the Birmingham On Demand system. There is funding in the budget for that. The other thing that I'll touch on is that the city is receiving millions of dollars as a result of the American Recovery Plan. And the last Tuesday, the mayor's office presented to the council about the process that they have set up to receive suggestions from the council and other entities about how those dollars should be utilized. And I'm very happy to say that appears that it's going to be a very transparent process, and that it is certainly going to be a documented process, but something that I'm happy about, because it's going to force folks to actually sit down and put pen to paper per se, or cursor to keyboard, and actually, write out what these suggestions are, who the partners are going to be involved, the cost of the project, so on and so forth. But the thing that I'm excited about is that those conversations aren't going to be, restricted to happening behind closed doors. So look forward to participating in that. As such, there is no specific projects that have been identified for the use of those funds. That's going to, come about as a result of the public engagement process that they've set up. And Kim Phillips, I believe, is also on the call. Kim works full-time in my office, and if you guys have any thing that we need to address, she'll be happy to document that and get it on our to-do list.
I have a question for you, Counselor.
Yes, sir.
What, if anything, is being discussed about the issues with the scooters being left all over the place, blocking sidewalks and such? Yeah,
so the city does have a designated person to work with that company, VORIDE, and within the Department of Transportation, it's the legislation or the city ordinance that we passed, made it very clear what the outline is for them to operate, but it's up to us to hold them in compliance. So I expect that those conversations are happening. I've not yet had the opportunity to check in with those folks to see specifically, how that issue is being addressed. I do my best to try and stay in my lane. The council is not supposed to be involved in the day-to-day handling of city operations, but I'm certainly, advocating that the city ordinance that I really had a big hand in helping to get passed, that's going to be enforced. That being said, I just want to state that, I expect that there's going to be some growing pains. We are a city that over the past few decades really went to being a automobile only city. That is not my vision for the future of this city. Within the first 100 days of Mayor Woodfin's administration, we passed a complete streets ordinance, and that's the vision that we have for the city moving forward. And it's going to take some time for us to, go from a all motorized vehicle mindset to a mindset of our streets being open for people, on scooters and bikes and skateboards and roller skates and however you want to move around. It's going to take some time to adapt. That being said, there are clear guidelines in the ordinance that we passed that states explicitly that the scooters and bikes are not to be left in the public right of way, that there is an incentive in place within VO's structure to incentivize users returning them to the designated parking places. In essence, everyone who uses one of those vehicles, if they aren't returned to the designated parking space, they pay $2 additional as a penalty for not returning it to the designated place. And as I understand it, the company is supposed to pick up all of the vehicles every night and reset them in the corrals. Again, I need to follow up with Department of Transportation folks to, make sure that that's happening.
Well, I can tell you that's not happening. And part of the issues are particularly the scooters zipping down sidewalks and just about killing people, especially at corners. And that goes beyond anything that company can deal with. That's a policing issue. So was any of this talked through with the police as to how they were going to respond? I mean, there has to be some enforcement.
Right. And, I would expect it to be handled the same way as, the folks that I see riding bicycles on the sidewalk. So that's, also not allowed and been prohibited for a lot longer than we've had scooters. So in any case, I don't know what conversations have happened between the Department of Transportation and BPD with respect to this issue.
I
but-
do. I talked to, the assistant chief of police. He said no additional staff. There's nobody to ticket them. There's no, any additional people been hired since this, before, when the scooters talks were handled, because I called and asked. Nothing was, they don't have people here like that. I don't want to call them meter maids, whatever you call them, that monitor the parking and all that. So they don't have the employees for the prolonged flex parking or the scooters. And, you know, I know that you're not responsible for making sure the rules are followed. I totally understand what you're saying. At the same point, everybody, when they say scooters, they say your name because they feel like it was your baby and getting it brought here. And
yeah, I'll take responsibility for it. I own that. Yeah.
But when I walk out my
but part of owning it is planning for the implementation of it.
Yes.
And that includes the policing and enforcement.
Well, is that something maybe CAP? I'm not sure. Can CAP help with that? No.
CAP can't issue citations. That's the, you know, part of the problem there is that you have to have a sworn law enforcement officer to actually write a citation.
Okay. Well, back to your point, I know, I mean, you know, it's tough. I know I park back in the spots and I try not to ride on the sidewalks, but everybody's not like me. And I like to save an extra dollar, but, you know, sometimes people don't read the instructions all the time too, or they just sign up for things. You know, I'm pretty sure they're making a lot of money too from those $2 fines or whatever it is. So maybe there's something, maybe we can talk with them. I don't know, but you know, it's just a difficult situation, I think, though, for sure. And they always, and I hate to say it, but it's always take somebody almost, you know, getting hurt for things to happen. And hopefully this
well, let's keep it in context. You know, in the state of Alabama, every year there are over 700 motorists that are killed in car wrecks. So, you know, I think it's important. Yes, you know, if introducing a new transportation modality, you know, there's going to be some incidents and, you know, some folks are going to get hurt. You know, God forbid some will, you know, get killed, but it's definitely important to, you know, keep it in context, you know, that cars aren't safe either. You know, I don't feel like that motorized vehicles ought to own the road, you know, so anyway, I digress.
Yeah, let's not beat the dead horse. Like I said, I enjoy the scooters, but you know, I do understand there are some growing pains. So we just have to work with it and do our best. So I support them. You know, just like with anything, we have to be, you know, make sure we do the right thing as far as safety goes.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that I'll say is with regard to those franchise agreements or business licenses that those companies have is that, you know, once you get a business license, it's not granted that that's going to be renewed or extended. And, you know, certainly that's written in the ordinance that the city has the right to withdraw that license per se, you know, if they don't feel like the company's acting in good faith to address any problems that are being experienced.
There's nothing that the company can do about idiots riding on the sidewalk, swerving all through the traffic on the streets. That is a city issue, an enforcement issue, and needed to be at least discussed with the police department or traffic engineering or all of the above before we let these things loose on the streets. The company can't.
Well, I expect the Birmingham police to do their job, you know, in all respects. And certainly when somebody runs a traffic signal, you know, they should be ticketed, or when they're racing in the streets, you know, they should be cited. So yes, we need law enforcement. We need stringent law enforcement.
I think let's move on. If there are like any additional questions or comments, we can leave them in the chat, and then we can make sure that we address them. At this time, I would like to move forward as far as like I think Kim, I think Councilor Quinn had passed the mic to you. So if you have an update, we can go ahead and move forward with that.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Very quickly, I just wanted to share that the Birmingham City Schools are going to have a summer program for about 4 weeks. And we want to make sure that all of our parents in the city or any other guardians are aware of that. That program is going to be, it's free, and it will include breakfast and lunch as well as free transportation. So I'm going to put the flyer in the chat so that y'all can review that. It does have more information and the website listed as well. And if you all have any questions or any other concerns, I can take those now, or you can share them in the chat, and I'll make sure that, as Counselor said, we have those to look into as well.
All right. Thank you so much for your update. Councilor Quinn, you're good. You didn't have anything else, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm done.
All right, thank you. Do we have anybody on representing, I guess, the Community Resource Center? I think that's right. Our CRR. Like I said,
are you saying the community crime prevention officer?
No. But if you are the crime prevention officer, feel free to give your report now, or if you have any update.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Belma Williams, and I'm the relatively new crime prevention officer. I started on April the 12th, and I work with the North Precinct. I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you this afternoon. I mentioned earlier to Mr. Sullivan that I had another neighborhood association meeting this evening at 6 o'clock also, so I'm sorry I was a few minutes late getting to you, but I would like to share a few announcements with you. The first one is that the Birmingham Police Department will host a virtual seminar on sexual assault tomorrow, which is Wednesday, May the 19th, from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on the department's Facebook page. And that's www.facebook.com/BHAM Police. Again, www.facebook.com/BHAM Police. Also, the Birmingham Police Department will host a book drive for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. And this will be conducted on May the 24th through the 31st. Officers will accept new and slightly used books at the Birmingham Police Department headquarters, located at 1710 First Avenue North, and that will be from 8 to 5 on those days. Any new or slightly used books will be appreciated. Then we know the World Games are coming to Birmingham. So if you would like to be a vendor, there will be a webinar on Monday, May the 24th. And to register for that webinar, you can visit B as in boy, I as in ice, T as in tango, .L as in Lima, Y as in Yankee, / capital T as in tango, W as in whiskey, G as in golf, 22, capital P as in Paul, lowercase ART1. Again, that's BIT.ly / capital T, capital W, capital G, 22, capital P, ART1. Also, we have a restored vintage Greyhound bus that will be downtown at the Birmingham Public Library starting tomorrow, the 19th, as part of the 60th anniversary of the Freedom Rides. The bus, which is part of the Freedom Ride Museum collection, will be open to the public from 3 p.m. until close of business that evening. 2 local Freedom Riders will speak during the program that will start at 5 p.m. The 1961 Freedom Rides were public bus trips undertaken by racially integrated groups through the Deep South to test the enforcement of a new court order prohibiting segregation in interstate bus terminals. This will be a great opportunity for some young people to see a portion of our history. We also have for Birmingham renters who are unable to pay their rent due to COVID-19 hardships, there's an emergency rental assistance program. More information can be found at www.birminghamal.gov/rent help, or you may call the call center at 1-844-287-1250. Again, that's 1-844-287-1250. The crime rates in the North Precinct from year to date have gone down slightly, about 2.1%, which is a good trend. However, we do want to remind you that there are incidents in the North Precinct and specifically in the Central City. We've had an arson of a bus. Apparently, one of our homeless people was agitated about an encounter with someone, and he decided to throw a Molotov cocktail into one of the buses, and it burned several vehicles and also ignited the air conditioner unit at Alabama Power. Fortunately, there were no injuries or loss of life. So those are things that we have to be aware of. We've also had one breaking and entering into a vehicle, and actually it was two vehicles belonging to a couple. And we want to remind you that those things happen when we get a little careless about crimes of opportunity. Crimes of opportunity happen when we forget and leave valuables in our cars, specifically clothing. You may not think much of it, but a homeless person would. Laptops, tablets, phones, food, loose change, and definitely, please don't leave a weapon. Remember, they know your hiding spots. So do not travel on foot alone in the wee hours, and always pay attention to your surroundings. Again, I am Velma Williams, and I can be contacted at 205-919-1310. Again, that's 205-919-1310. If it is an emergency, please call 911 and report it immediately, especially if you hear gunshots. That's a 911 call. If you have other concerns that you want to share with me, I'm available now to take those concerns and share them with the police department. You may have already shared everything, though. I know you had an officer on earlier. Any concerns for me? Okay. Well, thank you for this time.
Well, I do have I saw a question in the chat. Are volunteers needed for the book drive?
Was that a question?
Yes, yes. Are there volunteers needed for the book drive that you mentioned?
No, we just need those books. The Birmingham Police Department officers will be distributing those, and they're collecting them at the main office on First Avenue.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Ms. Williams?
One quick question. Could you just briefly tell us exactly what a crime prevention officer does? Are you a statistician or what do you do exactly?
My role is to be a liaison between the community and the police office. As you know, there are 99 communities in Birmingham. They're divided between the 4 precincts. I am assigned to the North Precinct. I contact business owners if there has been an incident at their business, and I can do what we call safety inventories to help them see their vulnerable spaces and what they can do to shore up those spaces to try to reduce crime in those ways. If citizens are noticing things such as when you were talking about the parking on the streets or any perceived drug activity in a specific location, if you let me know about that, then I can, of course, get that information to the proper authority. If you have someone in your neighborhood who's parking 18-wheelers and using someone's private property to use it as a parking pad, we can handle that by locating the owners of the property and letting them know that they need to post signs and give the police department permission to have them towed. So anything that you would like to have either more patrol, or you see a potential for crime happening, or you see actual crimes happening, you can report those to me and I will make sure they get to the proper authorities. We're also available to do trainings at schools. We had an opportunity last week to go to the YMCA Youth Center, and we actually had Matt Gruff with us to tell them about stranger danger. And it was an event with cupcakes and a cop. And so the role of the crime prevention officer was to be Matt Gruff. So those are some of the things that we do.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. So 205-919-1310, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm pretty sure people are going to be putting you on speed dial, so, so be prepared.
All right.
But thank you for joining. Thank you for the text message. Also reminded me as well. I'm glad you were able to join.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, it's 7:10, so let's go ahead and move along. And I do see Mr. Tincher on. I appreciate you hanging tough, man. I should have let you know you could have called in around 6:30 or so, but I always assume that people calling in want to hear the entire meeting. So I'm pretty sure you learned some things and heard some things, hopefully that you can share with people. But at this time, I want to, hold on, let me check my agenda real fast just to be sure. Okay, yeah, at this time, I would like for you to just pretty much just introduce yourself. I did send out what you were trying to do on the email and the agenda, but just pretty much tell people who you are, you know, who you represent, what you're trying to do, and the actual, I guess, approval that you're needing.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on the meeting. I'm actually glad I didn't come in at 6:30 because these are conversations that as an employee of a company you never really get to hear, but we'll need to know going forward. So it's good experience. It's a good test run, I'll put it that way. Like James said, my name is Tim. Myself and a business partner of mine, Chris Evans, we are taking over operations at Cafe DuPont here in the next couple of months. Chris DuPont has run Cafe DuPont for over 25 years, first in Springville, and then at the 20th Street location, where he's been for almost 20 years. Chris Evans and myself are both longtime employees. I think Chris Evans has been there for just over 20 years, and I've been a 10-year employee. Chris DuPont wants different challenges, so he has offered the chance for us to continue running Cafe DuPont. Hopefully, and I say hopefully because the restaurant industry is just a little challenging right now, but our goal is to continue to make sure that Cafe DuPont is a positive influence on the community and continues to serve good food with good service to the downtown Birmingham market. Again, we're both really long-term employees there. We know the restaurant in and out. We're just kind of shifting from management roles into ownership roles.
So your request today is it already has a liquor license, so you're just trying to transfer it into your name, or like what's the deal with that? Yeah.
Correct. We have started the transfer process with the city of Birmingham, and I believe his name is Gregory Stanley. He recommended that I come and attend the meeting and receive a vote of approval stating that you all are aware that this is happening and that you're okay with it.
So at this time, I'll just open the floor up to any of the residents who may have some questions or concerns for you.
I'm okay with it. No questions or concerns. Move along.
All right.
Well, I always have questions. So is it still going to be Cafe DuPont, first of all?
Yes, we're going to continue running the same restaurant. We've got a few operational changes to make, but we're still going to be doing fine dining, same building, same name, same all of that.
Okay. And who is the license actually being transferred to?
The license will be the license is being transferred from Cafe DuPont Incorporated to CD Restaurants LLC.
Okay. So what is Fresh Hospitality?
Fresh Hospitality is my day job. I am a CPA that specializes in restaurants and consulting. I started working for Chris DuPont 10 years ago when I was in college and have worked operationally for him for about 7 years and now 3 years as a consultant.
That's all I had.
I see Mike, you unmuted.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to get to the point where somebody would make a motion to approve.
All right, man. I don't like to jump the gun, so that's why I was, that awkward moment of silence. So I just want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. That's all.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. If there are no more questions or anything, is there a motion to accept the liquor license transfer of what Mr. Okay, go ahead.
I move that we accept the transfer, approve the transfer.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have Mike and Lou with the motion on the floor. Is anybody opposed to it? Okay. All right, that motion passed. So Tim, just either tonight or whenever you get that form that you have, just email it to me. You probably already sent it to me. I need to check, but if not, just email it to me and then I will get everything signed for you. And then you can go ahead and move forward with it, whatever you need to do. And good luck with everything. I know people downtown like fine dining, so let's make sure it stays that way, okay?
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you for joining. Okay, it is 7:16. So do we have anybody on public voices? It's still elections time, so I'm surprised, but I guess that's could be a positive thing. No really old business. Do we have any new business that anybody would like to bring up? All right. I have remarks on here, but no remarks, I'm assuming. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining the call. Always, as always, please be sure to share the link with neighbors who may not be aware. Because I think, the Zoom we have more participation. So we may continue to do it the Zoom way, but we may come back in person. But right now, I like Zoom. So is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, I hear one. Second that. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, no need to vote on that. We can go ahead and adjourn. It's good to see everybody. Everybody continue to stay safe and be safe. And I will see you next time, okay?
Thanks, James.
All right, thank y'all so much. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, James.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night, all.
Bye-bye.
Night.